Sup guys, it's Joe here, and you rejoin me once again playing F1 2017 Career Mode, and I can now exclusively reveal that the team I will be driving for Season 2 is Renault. I will be taking to Renault for Season 2 of Career Mode. Also, feel free to leave your thoughts and feelings on the Singapore Grand Prix today, as that race has just taken place on the day of the release of this video, and, well, Ferrari really messed up there. I feel like they were both to blame, closing in on Verstappen, and he had nowhere to go, really. Bit of a mad race, but please do leave your thoughts and feelings in the box below. There's just a little bit of reaction from it there. Meanwhile, we now get straight into Season 2 of the game. Season 2 of this career mode, we're in the Renault, and one thing I've noticed is that the car is a little bit trickier to drive in the corners than the McLaren. But there is a lot more speed to this car, as I found out going into this run, as I took way too much of it going into turn 1 and had that massive spin. But I did ultimately recover from that, and as you can see, we had a fairly stress-free resource grind. So now into qualifying then, I will confirm here that I got into Q3 quite nicely, but I made that mistake at the last corner. It really cost me a couple of attempts there, and ultimately I wasn't able to really do much with that lap. I got it up to P9 there. I went round again, managed to improve by a few attempts, but even after that slight improvement, as you see here, it still really wasn't enough to get anything higher than 10th. But we got into Q3 for our first race in a new team, and our first race for Renault, so you know what, I will take that. Looking into the race then, we are looking at a 2-stop strategy. So what can we do? We're starting 10th on our first race for Renault. Is this going to go well? It's lights. Oh, those lights are being held for ages. It's lights out and away we go. And we get a decent-ish start. We've got Hulkenberg on our left there, just having a little look. Having more than a little look there, banging wheels. We go up the inside and we nip 2 places. We move up into 8th place. We've just got ahead of Grosjean there. And now we've got Felipe Massa in our sights. So let's try and move up to 7th if we can. Bit of late braking here. The AI tend to brake really early on the first lap, and that enabled us to move up into 7th. So we are now within one sector of the race from 10th to 7th, and this is actually looking like it could be quite a competitive race for us here. Now we're having a look at Verstappen. It's going to be a dive bomb up the inside there, and banging wheels, but we get the move done. A little bit aggressive there. And now we're coming up to the battle between Vettel and what I think is Ricciardo. Vettel trying to get closer to him there, but just not quite able to get the momentum he needs. Diving up the inside, and we catch Vettel napping a bit there. Bit of a surprise dive bomb up the inside, but now we're into 5th, and we're trying to stay with Ricciardo and what I think is Bottas in 3rd. And it's not proving easy, it's got to be said, but we come round to the next lap and we're going to take a dive up the inside of Ricciardo. Well, we didn't quite make it, in fact, and we've gone a bit deep. It was a little bit of a look, but Ricciardo closed us off, and now we are still behind him, and some cars have pitted, but we've made a bit of a mistake there, carrying too much speed into the corner, and we went a bit deep. So still struggling to get used to the feel of this Renault, even in the race. But we're still in the top 10, and that is a sign for us, I think, that we need to consider pitting soon and getting onto a set of the super soft tyres, which we do at the end of the next lap. So at the end of lap 7, we have taken on a set of super soft tyres, and we are down now behind this battling pack, Verstappen included in it. We're going to take a big, bold dive up the inside here of both Massa and Verstappen. Verstappen holding out around the outside. He's still around the outside there, and he's still holding on just, but we mirror and move from earlier, and we get past Verstappen using that hand of rage, which is a little bit of a strange place to use that. But now we're coming out of the last corner, and we've got Vettel right in front of us now, and we're going to be having a look at him. We've got a bit of slipstream, first time I've seen that. Obviously didn't see much of it with the McLaren Honda, and we take Ericsson as well for good measure, as Vettel was being held up. Next up then is Wehrlein in the other Sauber. He should be easy pickings though. In fact, we approach him quite quickly. And now we're going to be having a look up his inside, and that's just a standard textbook manoeuvre then. Back ahead, Van Dorn is in 11th, but he pits and saves us the bother. Now we're coming up to a bunch of scrapping what I imagine are one-stoppers, with Hulkenberg dead ahead of us now. So obviously we're on different strategies here, but I'm just kind of thinking, can you get out of my way please, teammate? Diving up the inside there, and we take Lewis Hamilton as well, or do we? No, Hamilton's holding it out around the outside. Now he's got the inside line. We're now around the outside. Hamilton's still alongside, and I think he has to back out there. So a bit of wheel-to-wheel racing around the first sector there. Now we're going to have a look at Kvyat, but we're not quite close enough to do it there. And Magnussen is actually holding up this little group of cars. So we want to try and get past both of these as soon as possible. It's going to be a dive up the inside of Kvyat, and we're going to take Magnussen as well for good measure. So another double overtake there, and we are now up into P6. Hamilton then not giving us much room to breathe, as he's now got past that little battle. And the rest of them have now had their stops, and now we've got Hamilton right behind me to deal with. He's having a look around my outside at the end of sector 2, but he just runs a bit deep, and that enables us to hold on to the position. Nice try though, Lewis. Nice try. Okay, we're now coming up to around the time the drivers will make a second pit stop. We've now got Raikkonen in front of us, who is a little bit slower out the pits, and we're thinking, can we have a look at him? Because he's going to start holding me up. And we've moved to the right to have a look, but he's closed us off. We've got into him, and we nearly spin. We just about hold it, and Raikkonen on our inside now. We try and go around the outside. It hasn't worked, and if anything, that's just put Hamilton right on my rear. So that has done me literally no favours at all as we come in to make the second stop. But hopefully this should be a solid stop, but we're actually being held up by Hamilton exiting the pit. So not what we needed there in terms of a pit stop, and Hamilton is now in front of us. And to be fair, that's the last thing we're going to see of him for some time now, as he's just got a lot of momentum on us. And someone just came out of the pits there, got very eager to try and pass me, and went into the side of my car. I think that was Kvyat. Now we've got myself and Hulkenberg in 7th and 8th. Oh, Grosjean's now got past him, so I presume Hulkenberg has lost the position to him. No, they're still battling. I have no idea what's going on behind me anymore. Right, we're now holding on to 7th. Hamilton is 6th. He's disappeared off into the distance. I'm just wondering, is there anyone we can catch? Hamilton then gets past Stroll a little bit later on, and now we've got Stroll to deal with in 6th. So yes, we actually do have one more guy we could catch and pass in this race. And I'll be honest, this has been a bit of a quiet debut for Renault, but it's been a drive that I'm quite proud of. Quite a solid effort. We're about to take 6th from Stroll. He's obviously on some old tyres. We're on some fresh tyres, and we're getting him the slipstream now. And it's going to be a pretty textbook move up the inside, which we take. So we then move up into that 6th place. Stroll now falling behind us. He's going to have a little look, but we have that covered. A couple of laps to go now, and we're just starting to get away from Stroll. But I'm quite happy with this race. Like I said, it's been a bit of a quiet one, but it's been drama-free nonetheless, and this is a result I am quite happy to take. So I am really quite satisfied with the fact that we are going to come home in that 6th place, 8 points straight off the bat. Starting as we left off in Abu Dhabi, when we finished that race we were in 6th. We now carry on a new season by finishing 6th place, 8 points straight on the board. I will take that. Great result. Slightly quiet race, but you know, I'm not complaining. Well, I'll leave you with the closing screens then. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, it is goodbye from me. Cheerio, guys.
A great win then for the Maranello team today. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
And as we can see, it's time for the podium. And as the drivers make their way out, there's a familiar red suit making its way to the top step. Fantastic win for Ferrari. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Kimi Raikkonen takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship after that excellent result. Now then, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
Let's give it to Sergio Perez. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
And now let's take a look at the constructors' standings. Ferrari moved to the top of the table. That's it for today's Grand Prix, and from Ant and I, it's goodbye and see you again next time.